This TFMR podcast is brought to you by your friends at JM Bullion. Visit jmbullion.com for all your gold and silver bullion needs. Welcome back to your TF Metals Report podcast highlight show for the last week of May 2023. Again, these are just a small snippet of what we discuss in our daily podcast at TF Metals Report, a daily podcast, just part of what you receive as a subscriber at TF Metals Report. So please check us out. It's just $15 a month, but I think it's great value and something you might really enjoy interacting with the site and being part of the community. Back on Monday, May the 22nd, we looked at a number of charts as the week began, but one of them is the falling price of COMEX gold, at least on the daily chart. Was finding some support at 1960, but ultimately we're looking closer more toward maybe 1940, the 100-day moving average, the trend line off the lows from late 2022, everything down there in that 1940 area. So that's where we'll be watching for support in the days to come, and that was one of the charts we looked at, again, Monday, May 22nd. So if that's the case, how much farther might gold fall? Well, currently it's below 1980, couldn't get back above there. So again, had been support, now is resistance. Bounced Thursday and Friday from 1960, that's support level. That's going to be the important one to watch. But really, I think it could fall as far as 1940. Down there is where you find the 100-day moving average, which is where we bottomed out in February and March. But you could also make a case that there's horizontal support there at 1940, but also the trend line of higher lows from the low in early November, connecting through the low in early March, is also at 1940. So let's see. Yields go up another 20 basis points. Dollar rallies another point and a quarter. Gold falls about another $30 from here and then bounces. Now, it could also just come down and double bottom off of 1960, break the downtrend line that goes back to May the 4th or whatever that is, get back above 1980 next week sometime, and then be looking okay. Those would be the two scenarios I'd look for a bottom, okay? Either way, I'm not sure the bottom's in yet. One of the benefits and one of the frustrations of owning the mining shares is they always have outsized moves versus the metals themselves. It gives you leverage, but leverage can cut both ways, that's for sure. And when metal prices are going down, the shares always fall by a greater percentage, and that's never any fun. However, occasionally you run into one that does better than the metals, even when metal prices are going down. And about 3 weeks ago at TF Metals Report, we discussed a new IPO, a spinoff from Gold Mining Inc. called U.S. Gold Mining. Very interesting story. And since that IPO, the price is up a little more than 50% in a month. So that's one we gotta keep our eyes on, and something we discussed Tuesday, May 23rd. Have you seen this U.S. Gold Mining? Remember, this was a thing we did that. It was a brand new issuance back 3 weeks ago, spun off of Gold Mining Inc. Remember Alistair Still? We did that podcast, and he was all excited, and I thought, well, I'm not going to buy it yet. We'll let the underwriting fees come out. Maybe I'll pick it up at 8 or 9 instead. Well, you can see what's happened. It's gone from 10 to 16. Still 15. So it's up 50% when the GDX is down 15 or 20%. Now we'll see. At some point soon, I'm sure the restrictions will come off, and maybe everybody that bought it in the IPO will be able to sell it, and maybe it'll come back down. But I think there's something to this one. That's a pretty good pop. So I'll be looking to buy a dip. Anyway, I just want to make sure. I never did get a chance to buy it at 8 or 9, obviously. Who knows? Maybe I'll get another chance. But for now, at least here's something that's working. Wednesday, May 24th brought a technical breakdown of sorts in COMEX Silver. COMEX Silver leading the way down, as it often does. And we can hope that it will lead the way back up. But for now, it's breaking down and looking like it wants to go a little lower before it finds a low, somewhere maybe down by the 200-day moving average, maybe 2250, something under 23. Well, we'll see if that's the case, but that was one of the things we discussed Wednesday, May the 24th. And then finally, COMEX Silver, again, breaking down below its 100-day yesterday. And we thought, uh-oh, that's not a good sign. And now plummeting today. It's just amazing. 3 weeks ago, when the dollar was at 101, we're looking pretty good. 26, 26.50. Instead, they're able to paint a double top, absolutely crash it down in that big red candle 2 weeks ago. And now we're looking at 22.50 and the 200-day moving average, which maybe by the time it gets there will be pretty close proximity to each other. Now, RSI is all the way down to 35, 33, something like that. When we bottomed in price back here in early March, the RSI was about 25 or 6. So by the time we get to 22.50 in the 200-day, that's about where the RSI will be again. So that's a logical place to look for a low. Okay? And that's still what I would be expecting at the current time. Our chart from the Thursday, May 25th podcast is also COMEX silver, looked at another way. Notice the rally out of the lows in late 2022 went to a box, roughly defined by 23.50 to 25, and then a pullback, and then the rally in the last couple of months took it to another box, roughly defined by 25 to 26.5. After this current pullback, could we be moving back up to another box about $1.50 higher? Maybe. All part of what we discussed on Thursday the 25th. It's pretty remarkable too. Rallies out of the lows last fall, goes up, gets trapped into a box for the better part of 2 months, between 23.50 and 25. Falls, comes all the way down, breaks below its 200-day moving average, rallies, trades all the way up, gets traded into a box for the better part of 5 or 6 weeks, between 25 and 26.50. What? Now look at the breakdowns. Falls out of the box with a big red candle, comes down, and now then trades pretty much at a 45-degree angle from in early February from 23 down to 21.50. And this time from 24.50 down to 23. Then it bounces, comes down in February, breaks below the 200-day, comes back up, fails to get back above, and then there's another big red candle, and that's when everybody was losing their SHIT. Looked terrible at that point. But when it looks the worst, you got to buy some, and if you did that day, you got a 25% rally from just north of 20 to 26.50 in about a month. That's coming again. Probably come down here to this 22.50, 200-day moving average area, and then rally. And up into another box. If we went from a $1.50 range, 23.50 to 25, and the next box was 25 to 26.50, then maybe the next box is 26.50 to 28 by later on this summer, by July, something like that. Would that surprise you? Wouldn't surprise me. And on Friday, May the 26th, precious metals have bounced a little bit. Heck, COMEX silver's up almost 50 cents. However, they will both still paint red weekly candles on the chart. The sentiment has shifted toward a Fed rate hike in June. A 0% chance of that just 3 weeks ago. Now a greater than 50% chance. And we're in a period just like February. We moved higher in January, fell back in February, moved higher in March and April, and fell back in May. Still tracing out, though, higher highs and higher lows. Thought for a final chart this week, I would give you something that Michael Oliver sent over to me when I was speaking with him earlier today. Michael Oliver runs a great site. You can find it at olivermsa.com. And this is just a monthly chart of COMEX gold. Sometimes you got to step back. We get caught in the minutiae of the hourly charts and the daily charts. And that's fine if you're a trader, but if you're a stacker of physical precious metal like I am, you need to be more cognizant of the long-term chart. And that is really shown on this chart that Michael sent over. Again, breaking out, pulling back, retesting what had been resistance for support. And now any move higher to new all-time highs up around $2,100 should really accelerate price to the upside and still bring our 2023 goals up near 2,300 into play by later this year and set us up for a very intriguing 2024. For now, though, it's now a market holiday, Memorial Day here in the U.S., so I wish everybody a relaxing, peaceful, and safe holiday weekend. Markets close in the U.S. on Monday, so we'll have a little shorter week next week, and I think we can all value that. Thank you for listening to the TF Metals Report podcast highlights. We'll have another one of these shows for you next week.